Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Seizure. I am Jeff Arbuckle. With me as always, my capos. Oh, finally did that. We've been promoted. That's Chuck Moore. Chuck.
Hey, how are you?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to closing out Godfather month.
Yes.
Try
Godfather
Osby. Times. Yeah, it's a try Osby.
Yeah. Jason Oliver.
Howdy.
Hi.
How you doing?
Doing all right. Have you guys given anybody offers that anybody couldn't refuse?
No, but I've given some people the high hat.
Has anybody gone to the mattresses lately?
I bought 17 of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, I sleep with fishes
I actually
now.
had a question. Sleep with the Fishes, was that the first time that was referenced in popular culture?
I would assume it's one of the early time. I mean, certainly probably the time it caught on.
Yeah.
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 So here we are with Godfather Part 3, 1990.
Yeah.
Jeff is wringing his hands really hard.
So, yes, 1990.
There's a lot of Marys in the room to discuss in this.
There are a lot of Marys.
Let me preface on, because we're going to talk a lot about Sofia Coppola, I'm sure, because her scenes are almost unwatchable. And I don't want to be just another person who piles on, because God knows the 30 years ago and over the last 30 years, everyone did.
On. Yeah.
She is still a fantastic director.
Yes.
So I'll just leave it at that. We apologize. Cast us in your next movie.
Yeah. If you want a performance like you had in Godfather 3.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cast us in your next movie. Well, all right. Might as well get it out of the way. The casting of Mary, Sofia Coppola as Mary. This was a hard to cast role. The first person cast, weirdly, was Julia Roberts. You don't really think Italian princess.
She's taller than Al Pacino.
She's probably like twice as tall.
She's not Al anymore. It's Dunk. My kids will love that. Sorry. We did that in the first one too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
She wanted to play the role, but she had to drop out because of other commitments. Then the role went to, what was her name? Rebecca Schaefer. And I don't know the whole story there, but apparently she was murdered by her stalker when she was 19 years old.
Jesus.
No relation to Eric Schaefer, right?
I'm not sure.
Would have been around the same.
She was on a TV show on CBS called My Sister Sam.
I do remember that show.
I remember that.
And she was a teen model, and she had a stalker. I'm not even going to say his name, because fuck him.
Yeah.
But he became obsessed with her and got jealous, like stalkers do, and decided she needed to die. So she actually was the impetus for a lot of the stalker laws that were passed in California since then. So her legacy is sad, but necessary.
Something came out of it.
Yeah. So then it was to Winona Ryder, who was going to take the role, but she dropped out of the film at the last minute. She cited exhaustion. Not quite sure exactly what happened there, but she had just gotten off another film, and a lot of people on set, when she came on set, said that she didn't look good. She was, she just didn't look healthy, and then she dropped out. Who knows? I don't know.
She's also taller than Al Pacino, right? Because she's like, what, 5'2" or something, probably? Yeah, okay.
No diss, but looking to Sofia Coppola, but looking at Rebecca Schaefer, she does look like she would be
the part.
The Italian princess.
Oh yeah,
does.
totally.
100%.
Yeah, totally.
I can see it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I'm trying to think what Winona Ryder would have done right before that.
Well, I'm assuming that Godfather Part 3 was probably started filming in 89.
She was coming off Mermaids. I wonder, she made Edward Scissorhands in 1990. Well, Mermaids and Edward Scissorhands both came out in 90, so she might have been coming off of either Mermaids or Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, she was in a lot.
Heather's
in the
was
late
89
80s.
as well. Yeah, she was working a lot. So maybe she was just exhausted, and who knows, like, right? So anyway, she was out, and I think they only had a couple weeks to shoot. Sophia had already been standing in and line readings and things like that. So Coppola just decided to cast her, and he got a lot of flack for it from the beginning because of alleged nepotism or what have you. But I mean, she was the fourth choice. He probably should have looked for a fifth.
But Madonna was wanting the part.
Madonna wanted the part. She was deemed too old, which she probably was.
Probably was. Fair enough.
But anyway, yeah. So that's how Sophia got cast. So she was kind of thrust into the role, maybe pressured, maybe.
But so much of this movie hinges upon that character.
I agree. You can't really take her out. Chuck was joking. He was like, so when I get to Mary, I fast forward, right? I was like, you can't. She's in the whole damn thing. She's crucial.
She is crucial to the very end of this saga.
Yeah. So yeah, we're stuck with her. Her scenes are hard to watch. And they're not made any easier to watch.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Of the subject content of her and her first cousin, Andy Garcia, and their romantic relationship.
It's really weird.
It's really weird. And it's so...
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary because they could still be close without it. And they could still have the emotional impact without it.
Yes.
It's so weird because one of the weirdest things about that whole thing is that it's relatively nonchalant.
Yeah.
Al Pacino, I'm just going to call him Al Pacino because you're going to say anyway that he's not acting like Michael Corleone anymore.
True.
So Al Pacino just says, "Hey, my daughter, that's over."
Yeah, it's too dangerous.
So it's almost like he's just talking to a suitor.
It's too dangerous and it's not right. That's all he ever says.
Right. It's like, it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
I'm not even sure
they're
it's
going to be
legal.
there are going to be multiple arms and eyeballs on this child. But we don't have to worry about that.
And we should mention that Andy Garcia plays Sonny's illegitimate son. So out of wedlock bastard.
The woman, it's the woman. So Steph looked this up. The woman that Sonny was having sex with during Connie's wedding
makes sense.
Is the mother of
okay,
him, whatever his Vinny Vincenzo.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
nice connection there.
Yeah.
Probably got conceived right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy Garcia is fantastic.
That could have been some of the stuff, the Sonny stuff that got cut out too, because a lot of Sonny's role was cut out of the original Godfather.
Yeah, he could have had another kid, and that could have been Vinny.
I bet you it was. I bet you it was cut out because there was a lot of stuff they shot that they just didn't deem necessary.
Because the movie is 3 hours and a half long.
Well, the first one is
was right at 3 hours.
Yeah.
258 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the studio is probably desperate to get it under 3.
Yeah.
If they didn't want over 2.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Andy Garcia is really, really good in this.
Yeah.
Most of it.
Well, I mean, he comes in hot like Sonny, but he goes through a pretty nice progression.
I think his transformation is a little accelerated, though.
Well, this is also a movie that used to be 3 hours long.
It's almost Michael Corleone in reverse.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's the way I view it. He comes in how Michael Corleone is now, and he kind of settles down into the more level-headed Corleone that Vito was, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely parallel with like when Michael and Vito were having conversations about what Michael's going to do.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a parallel to that when Michael sends Vinny to basically be his spy. It's kind of a similar, this is what you're going to do, this is what we know, and this is what has to be done. So, you know, and that's kind of his graduation at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, he comes in wanting the job.
Yeah.
He's just a small time punk.
Total opposite of Michael, who never wanted it. Michael, at the end of 2, had, maybe the larger family was strong still, but his family had been broken.
Yeah.
And it was still broken.
Well, yeah, because Connie knows everything.
Right.
Even though she's never been told, she knows that Michael ordered her husband's death, ordered her brother's death.
She still maintains that Fredo drowned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
says
there's
that,
you can
That's
almost hear
that's
her winking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the bad family explanation. Yeah. But it's Vinny.
Vinny.
But he, in a way, Michael is still ruining the family by the end of 3, right? I mean, there's one more thing. His most treasured thing, you might say, is still to be taken from him.
Right.
Yeah.
And Vinny is left now to rebuild out of the ashes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is going to be tough to do when he hasn't been in that life
Yeah.
the same way, which is interesting because there was a 4th movie
There was.
planned
Yeah.
in the 90s
Oh,
that
wow.
never happened because Puzo died.
Puzo died.
There is a bit of a wink here. I think it's a wink at the beginning that Michael's final attempt at being legit is to get in the business of the church.
Yes.
Which is about the least legit thing I can think of.
Well, yeah, but he's looking to bankroll something truly legit, which is where this starts to get muddied, right? Because he wants out of Vegas, so he's going to sell off all the,
He's already done it.
Yeah, he's already done it, and he's going to give everybody their fair share. I wonder what happened to all those checks.
I wondered the same thing. Well, Susan asked it. She's like,
It's like,
what about all the money? And I was like, well, they're checks. They ain't getting cashed. So he keeps his money.
They
I
had
guess so.
signatures and brains on them.
Right, exactly. But yeah, but interestingly, that opening scene. So we watched the Coda,
Yes.
which is the Star Wars Special Edition version of The Godfather Part 3.
Which is funny because it's actually the third cut of the movie. The original theatrical version was quickly recut to the definitive director's cut, which was the only way you could really see this movie until...
Once it got on VHS, I think.
Yeah. Which is really the only way you could see it for a long time. Maybe until 2020.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And so I don't know that I've ever seen the original theatrical. Probably not.
I probably haven't. No.
I think I'd only seen The Godfather Part 3 once, and it was, I'm assuming, the definitive director's cut, which is no longer definitive because now we have the Coda cut. The Coda cut with the subtitle, The Death of Michael Corleone.
Which was the original title.
Of 2. It was original.
Of 2.
That's what he wanted what Godfather Part 2 to be called. He didn't even want it to be Godfather Part 2. He wanted it to be called The Death of Michael Corleone. And Paramount was like, "Fuck no."
We're gonna milk this cow as long as we can.
And to go even further, Coppola didn't even want to make Part 3. He said, "We told the entire story."
He wanted to make Dracula.
Yeah. He said, "We told the whole story already." And then that's when he was convinced to make 3, it was because he needed the money.
Right. He was broke and he wanted
just
to
had
make
a big
Dracula.
Flop. Yeah.
How these guys become broke is beyond me.
Well, a
sure
big
there's a
part of
real
it is
explanation to it, but
you got to go back 10 years to Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, and he also had made One from the Heart, which this became Coppola's MO after Apocalypse Now, was to somehow convince somebody to make a movie, because he was still a name, and then he'd run way over budget and ruin people. I mean, he ruined Robert Evans with The Cotton Club.
Really?
Yep.
And then he would also make little movies like Rumblefish.
That was before, and those. Well, yeah, you're right, because that would have been under Zoetrope.
Yeah, it was like 85 or so.
Yeah, those usually did well. Yeah.
Right.
They were under his own banner also.
Right,
Yeah.
and he was having to be careful because he had to run his own business.
Yep.
So, this one's going to be black and white.
One from the Heart, I don't know if it was under Zoetrope or not, but yeah, I think he owed some people some money. So he's like, yeah, okay, well, it was under Zoetrope.
Yeah.
He probably owed Columbo's family some money from
all right,
making of The Godfather.
Probably. All right, so One from the Heart was a $26 million budget. It made a little over $600,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah,
Which is weird
so, yeah,
because I've
I'll
heard
do
of that.
Godfather Part 3.
Well, because I've heard of that. I mean, like it's not an unknown movie. Like it must have had a life on VHS or something.
I think it's known
Or
for
cable.
its music because Tom Waits did the music.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
So I think we should also preface the critical analysis of Godfather Part 3 as a movie that was made to make money, and that even its own director didn't think was necessary. So
Right.
the cut that we
he
watched,
still got the Oscar nomination.
he did.
Though,
So the
but-
cut that we watched, the Coda cut, is what he and Puzo imagined this to be, not an actual full story, but an epilogue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it plays like an epilogue.
Yes.
The one now. So the opening scene in which he that we saw, in which he's talking to the bishop
Yeah.
about like the money he needed,
The church has a $750 million deficit.
Something
owed
like
to
that, yeah.
somebody.
Archbishop says 700 million. Michael corrects him. It's 769.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, right. He knows exactly what's being asked of him. Yeah, and so he's looking to buy an interest in one of the Vatican's banks,
Yes.
right?
So it's a conglomerate, a business
Okay.
conglomerate, the Immobiliari or something
Okay.
like that.
Immobiliari. is
Immobiliari.
Right. One thing
You're good at pronouncing everything these
Yeah,
three
you are.
words.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's interesting to note here is this, this is the third movie, the third one that opens with the deal being made. But
Yes.
this time, there's no family celebration.
Right.
So
He's
that is
alone.
a clear, harbinger, I think.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
a harbinger for what's about to happen.
I want to make a comment here
Yeah.
because that scene, the opening scene, was not the original opening scene.
Right.
That comes 35 minutes later.
Right. That's
than the
what I was
original
just about to
family
say.
celebration in the original.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the when he presents the $100 million to the foundation.
So this one works
from the foundation.
This one works better.
Yes, I think it does.
it
It
moves
works
the
much
story
better,
better.
because it also tells you what's going to happen, while the other two did as
This
well.
is
Yes.
this new opening sequence is the thesis
Yes.
of this movie,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is Michael is desperate
Yes.
to get legit.
Yes.
He is, and
He's way
this-
behind schedule.
He's way behind schedule, and he's also he's
He's tired.
He's tired, and he's
Sick.
crushed.
And he's sick.
Well,
In
he's-
a way, he has
he
diabetic seizures. And
That's
that is
true.
that's
That's
true.
true.
And he's crushed by having to kill
He's racked with
Fredo.
guilt.
yeah.
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 So he is desperate now, and maybe
And you're right. It doesn't feel right to start a movie about a character that way with a party.
exactly. And in a way, you could say it's like, oh, Michael is desperate to find, is desperate to be absolved by somebody.
He wants
right.
to be validated or absolved. Yeah.
Right.
Validated or absolved for what he's done, and he looks for it almost everywhere. in
And
this
he
movie.
and he does get it in at least the spiritual sense.
Yes.
Which
Which is what would have been offered anyway, I'm guessing. But
But it's
That's a-
the but it's
that's
the
a
horse
nice
he
scene,
wants
though.
to back
is.
though, and it's critical to what ends up happening to that guy too.
Yes. Yes.
Everything's coming up Michael until that guy dies.
Yeah. And then the guy you confess to becomes Pope.
Well, but that's why he gets. I mean, but he's
that was
but
good
he's,
for him.
That's good for him.
Yeah, maybe.
That
No,
guy
it was because
that
he
guy
approved the deal.
His immobiliary deal.
Did that happen? Did they
Yeah, that's
actually
why he
approve it?
died.
Yeah.
That's why he got killed.
Well, I
Yeah.
know that's why the Pope, the first Pope, got killed. The
No,
one,
No, that was the second pope.
That's
Oh Jesus
the,
Christ!
the guy.
What movie did I watch?
Yeah.
Okay, so
The guy,
Okay,
the
yeah,
guy,
yeah, yeah. I'm
right?
with you,
The
I'm
guy
with
that absolves him becomes John Paul the
Yeah,
First.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And then
This
George
movie
Ringo
is-
took over after.
we should say this. This movie is kind of confusing. Not even kind of confusing. It's
Well,
almost
that's
very confusing.
so. Let me kind of. I know some of the contemporary opinion of the original movie, and most everybody said two things. One, Sofia Coppola was bad. Two, you have to really, really know and like the first two Godfather movies to understand what's happening in part three.
I mean, I just watched them.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but that's but that's the thing. It's like it
study them.
It is convoluted, but it's so deeply connected to things that happen in the first two movies that you may not think about until you have to. And so there is a convolution to this movie that is that hurts it, but still contemporarily it was given very high marks by a lot of the top critics, which probably helped propel it to get that third best picture nomination that it really didn't deserve. But 1990 was kind of a weak year because there were really only two front runners. So
yeah.
So yeah, so the it was well received mostly, and by most people in retrospect now see what we see, which is doesn't really work. It is too much of a epilogue, and it doesn't really. It only serves to torture Michael Corleone.
Well, I think a lot of what happens to him in this movie is deserved, and I think actually his real penance, like that he does not agree to serve. Like they talk about this later. He's like, well, what good is me confessing if I don't serve my penance? Well, in reality, the world serves him his penance.
Yeah.
Right? Like he loses. He loses. And I think he deserves all of this.
No, he does, because his actions in 2 are reprehensible.
Yeah.
He's a good guy in the first movie.
To a point.
But again, like I was saying, it's like, Vito could be a guy that, hey, if he was my neighbor, I'd be happy that Vito Corleone lives next to me, as long as I have a good as long as we're cool with each other.
Enzo the baker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But and Michael in the first movie is kind of similar to that in a way. He is a little bit more cocksure, not like Sonny. But in 2, he's a villain.
Well, yes, he is, and I think his ends are justified in a way, but they're a line that normal people should not cross.
Exactly. So there is a little psychosis there.
Like, I would never kill my brother. Let's get out of the way. But his reasons are like, you could agree with Michael Corleone in a way. Like, you do need to get this man out of the picture. Maybe not kill him.
Right. Maybe don't go that far.
But he's dealing with that. He's dealing with that fallout in his life now. And I think that's why he goes to the church.
Sure. And there is one missing element that, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but he never told Tom he was going to kill Fredo, right? Like, there was no conversation of how to deal with Fredo.
No. I don't believe so.
But it would have been nice to have found out, or to at least see Tom's reaction if he finds out that Fredo suddenly died, or something.
I think it would have been nice if you knew there was going to be a third movie, which nobody thought about, because it was the perfect ending to Michael's. I mean, that was the death of Michael Corleone.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
The spiritual death, right? Yeah. And then Tom didn't come back. For the third one, Robert Duvall.
Well, yeah, because
that could have been explained away as like he disagreed with Michael and was like, "I'm done.
I got to leave."
That would have been a nice explanation.
It could have been,
but then again,
they just killed him off.
They would have killed him. I mean, I don't know if he could have just left.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think that makes a messier plot point.
But there's no closure there.
There is no closure.
There is now. So you just have to assume Michael killed him.
Duvall didn't want anything unreasonable. He was upset that Pacino was getting about 4 or 5 times what he was getting for 3. He was like, and I understand Pacino getting twice what I get, but 4 to 5 times what I'm getting.
That's a bit much.
Yeah, so he walked away.
Needed in this movie.
Yeah. He absolutely is needed in this movie. He could have been, even though Tom is like that silent killer, right? Like the cold assassin in a lot of ways. He could have helped ground Michael in some of these dealings. All you've got in his steed is George Hamilton, who seems like the skeeviest lawyer on the planet.
Well, he's just
He takes me out of this movie.
he's crunching numbers.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all he's doing.
Yeah. He's like, sign this, sign this, sign this. You know, that's breakfast.
And we're
Tom
done.
Hagen could have. Granted, having watched all these movies in a row, you kind of get the the idea of where this is going from the beginning, right? But Tom, excuse me, I'm gonna cry.
You really miss Tom.
Yeah, Tom Hagen could have served as that warning the whole movie, the advisement of to Michael, like, this is the wrong move.
Yeah.
Like you should not do this because of X or
And
Y.
he's been a financial consigliere. He's been a wartime consigliere. Nobody knows better than Tom. I really wish it could have come back.
Yeah.
It would have made this movie a much better
if they
movie.
used him right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
as it
he's-
stands, like you said,
But they couldn't make George Hamilton Tom, right? They couldn't just put him in a similar character role.
Right.
It wouldn't work. It's
He
like,
totally
he's just,
takes me out of this movie.
I know. They honestly should have limited the limited scenes he was already in.
He takes me out of the movie. Like we talk about Sofia Coppola, she at least is poignant, if like to the plot. Like she's important to the plot. Not,
Okay, because
Sorry.
I had to shoot a look
Her
over to
character-
Jason on that one.
her character is important to the plot. George Hamilton is just kind of in the background, being tan and smiling, and like there's nothing. There's nothing
Right
to him.
there's real. Yeah, he's a name in this movie. There are times in which it feels like, oh, they just have recognizable people in this movie.
yeah.
You know, and okay, so although I will say, what I would have liked was to see Tom Hagen lean on the Pope.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the Archbishop.
Why don't you kill yourself, Pope?
Definitely the Archbishop.
That's where he would.
He could have gone. He could have gone toe to toe with the Archbishop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been a good line.
So, but anyway, or you have him in for a few scenes and you kill him. You know, and he could have been killed in the scene at the casino.
yeah,
You know, or something.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. That could have made that scene hurt even more for Michael.
absolutely. Although really good hero moment for Andy Garcia.
Oh, for sure. Although he's not even the one who blows the door open.
No, he's not.
Somebody else
It's
gets the shotgun.
Isn't that the guy who goes to the bishop?
Maybe
Antebellum?
it might be.
No, the Kylo?
Carlo?
no,
Callow or
Callow.
Carlo? I can't remember.
I think he's the one who goes and takes care of the bishop. I could be wrong, and I could have him mixed up with somebody
Franco
else.
CD as Kahlo, maybe.
Anyway, but
There's so many people in this movie.
It is confusing. So we have Vinny.
So many people.
Vinny
It's just-
shows up at the what is it, a coronation or whatever you want to call it? When
well,
Michael
it's
gives
the
them
it's
100 million.
Yeah, and well, and Joe Mantegna is there. He's kind of a cartoon character.
He's Joey Zaza.
Zaza.
Joey Zaza. Bang,
He
bang.
has taken over. He's taken over the Corleone interests in New York.
in
Yes.
New York.
Yes.
He's the new Clemenza who wasn't Clemenza. Who's
You're right.
Frank. Yeah.
Frank. Yeah.
Well, and he's yeah, and actually, it's funny because he has a scene later that's very reminiscent of Godfather Part 2, the guy that De Niro has to take down.
Yeah.
And he gets
Yes.
taken down by the next Don.
Yes, I was going to mention that in the last episode, but I was like, we should save it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
we'll get there. But yeah. So yeah, and Zaza's there with some here's an award that's named after the guy who actually invented
the telephone.
it's that thing that people do.
1 year before Alexander
Yeah,
Graham
it's
Bell,
like-
there's a scene in The Sopranos about that, like that.
He's
scene
almost
too,
like a
kills me.
Joey Colombo from The Offer, like in his Italian heritage. Like,
Yeah.
you can't
It
besmirch our
supersedes.
name. Like, you
Yeah.
can't- you know what I mean?
I think it's kind of poking fun a little bit.
I think-
at
Well,
the Italian American
Italian-American
League.
League.
You know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it reminds me of?
Like this is this thing that makes us look good. So, and you're
it's
the
also
most
kinda corny.
You're one of our greatest Italian Americans.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're all still gangsters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, when he talked about how that was like the guy who really invented the telephone,
Yeah.
it reminded me. Remember in Star Trek 6,
oh, God.
another Paramount movie, so
We
we're
need
connected. When Chekhov says that everybody should enjoy Shakespeare in its original Russian, It's that sort of shit.
Yeah.
That's what it makes me think
Yeah.
of. And it's like, oh my God.
It's like a nuclear vessel.
It's pretty.
Yes.
That's a funny line, though.
It is.
Yeah, in the original Russian.
Right. But that was all of Chekhov's part, was taking everything and turning it Russian. It's almost like that.
But
you
I
know?
also love that.
It's Chekhov's telephone.
Chekhov's.
I just also love that history is that's so far long ago that he might be able to get away with that.
Sure.
Or he might actually believe that William Shakespeare was Russian.
Sure. The point is that Star Trek 6 is better than The Godfather 3.
Should we go there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Paramount made one choice right the following year from Godfather Part 3.
who is sweating in Godfather Part 3 when they realize they're the racist?
I'm the racist.
All right.
Nobody in this movie is sweating being a racist.
Right.
I think that's one of our funniest film seizure moments. I'm just gonna.
I don't
say.
know,
is
but
pretty
we're going to back out of that deep film seizure lore. But so, all right. So yeah. So Zaza is there.
I'm the racist in this movie.
Sorry, everyone.
right.
I'm getting blinded by laughing. Go ahead, Jeff.
So
please.
yeah. So Zaza is like basically, he's there to basically make nice with Corleone, and he's Vinny comes in.
Well, he says, I have a problem.
Yes.
He says, I have a problem.
And
I
he's
have
the
this-
guy that's here at this party.
Yes, and you need to deal with it.
Right. And he claims that he's
It's my problem or your problem.
Yes.
right. So yeah, is
I want to find out if it's my problem or your problem.
right. And it's like,
says.
it's a guy who is basically claiming that he is your nephew.
Yes.
And
He's the
it's-
bastardo.
right. And he's a bastard child. But so Michael's like, yeah, come on in, bring him on in. And Vinny comes in wearing his leather jacket,
Yep.
like a good 70s gangster should.
He already said he was underdressed for the party, and it turns out he is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's already met Bridget Fonda too at this point, who is a reporter wanting to talk to Michael.
Yep.
And Vinny is running interference for him. He's already trying to get into the good graces of Michael. Her part, I believe, is bigger in the original cut.
I would imagine so
Because she's only in two fucking
two
scenes
scenes. Yeah.
in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I remember her being a lot more, or at least more. But anyway, he comes in and it's like, oh, it's that Joey Zaza fuck or whatever he says. Like right out of the gate, he's just shot out of a cannon.
I'm going to yell at you.
Right.
That's all he does is just start raising his voice.
Exactly. And, he's just like, oh, this fucking guy. And, and Zaza's like, see, look, he's already disrespecting me. What are you going to do about this? And again, this kind of comes down to the idea of Michael. He's asking Michael essentially to get rid of his own, remove Vinny.
Without
here it is.
saying it, he's saying it.
Here's what it is he's telling Michael, like, you're still, even though you're not a part of this, you are still the Godfather.
Yeah.
And Michael's like, I don't have anything to do with this.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a problem between you two. Handle it. Well, kill him. Kill him if you want to kill him. Kill him if you want to kill him is basically his stance at first.
And Joey isn't going to do that.
No, because he fears Michael still
Yeah.
too. A little bit.
And Michael's not really saying that. He's more saying, like, figure it out.
Right.
Well, no, because Vinny literally says, I'm going to kill him. And he literally says, well, kill him.
Right.
Yeah,
and then Vinny's like, and then Vinny kind of gets this look like,
I'm saying that
okay.
he's there's an implied sense that Zaza wants to kill Vinny.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
Michael's like, that's not my, do you have a problem? Like, deal with it.
And Zaza even says, when
Is this a me problem?
he's like,
or
is this me problem or your problem? Well, he doesn't work for me. I don't run that neighborhood. It's
And
like,
he's like,
okay,
it's a
then
me-
it's a me problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty heavily implied there that Zaza is gonna get rid of Vinny.
Yeah.
Vinny's a problem.
Yeah.
So then Michael brokers a peace deal between them.
Yeah.
Which turns into the it must be where Mike Tyson got some ideas from, because Vinny bites off his ear.
Well, it all goes back to an opera, apparently, because that's one of my favorite moments in this movie.
Yeah.
So,
but yes, he does. Michael at some point in this, so Zaza like calls something of Michael's into question. So at this point, Michael is like, okay, Zaza's a problem. I'm gonna bring Vinny in. You stick close to me. We'll deal with this.
yeah, I'll teach you the ropes. Basically,
Vinny says out loud that
Somebody's calling you an asshole or
Joey's
something.
calling you an asshole behind your back. He's talking bad on the Corleone name.
Yeah. You're right. That's what it is.
And then that's when Pacino is like, what would that kind of person be? That person would be a dog, and he makes Zaza say it.
yeah.
Right? Yeah. So he's then in that moment reestablishing authority.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Montaigne is totally scared shitless. So obviously he's been saying what Vinny says he said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then he goes and so basically, when Joey Zaza goes off with this bleeding ear,
Yeah.
and Michael's like, "Oh my God, you're just like your father." Basically, like he already knows that this guy's a fucking wild card,
Yep.
but he's going to teach him some stuff.
I think
stick with me.
He also, I think, sees all right, this kid wants this. Maybe I can convince him to come to the light side that I'm trying to build, and it's like another shot at redemption.
Yeah.
At the same time, Kay and Anthony have shown up, and Kay is telling
Kay
Michael,
is remarried too.
Oh yeah,
But that guy just disappears.
that doesn't really come through in the story.
No, it really doesn't.
Actually.
Yeah.
But they're there to tell Michael that, similar to Michael, Anthony has another career in mind. He wants to sing.
Yeah, he wants. It's Monty Python's
Yes,
Holy Grail.
yes.
Yeah, it's He doesn't want to get into whatever it is that Mary and Michael
They want
are
to
cooking
they
up.
want to be a lawyer.
Well,
He wants
Michael
him-
wants him to be.
Michael
a lawyer.
wants
It's
him to be a
similar
lawyer. Right, right,
situation to what
Exactly.
Vito wanted for Michael.
Yeah.
Right, and so Michael's
Michael,
like,
he relents. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
he does. He's like, oh well, you know what? It does me no good to push.
He's like, you can go your own way. Go your own way. These are just rumors that I've heard.
Oh
That he
God.
said
Oh
that.
my God.
Sorry, it's Godfather 3. I told you the funny might come out. It's not funny.
It's not funny.
What's funnier is that Anthony, in a matter of months, goes from like being a almost no name singer to
Opera
anchoring
house in
an
Italy.
Italian opera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the Corleone
I'm gonna
line.
guess. I'm gonna
The name,
guess.
the Corleone name gets him a little farther than he.
Well,
might admit.
they are in Sicily,
Yeah.
in Palermo, when he performs for the first time.
Yeah.
So my guess is,
So Anthony's maybe not as morally grounded as he might.
well,
I
I
mean, he
just
probably doesn't know he's been helped along that way. I
that's
guess.
my guess.
That's pretty naive.
I would.
I mean, it'd be
well,
like.
I mean,
it'd
Michael
be like,
was pretty naive at one point.
Anthony is naive.
Yeah,
I feel.
but he knows what the business is,
Yeah.
and he doesn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
He's very much Michael.
Either way, we're just really kind of guessing if that.
Well, I
actually
think-
I just think
There-
it's kind of like a
there's-
tenuous way to connect him to Michael as a
well,
young man.
again, remember, there's 30 minutes missing from this movie.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't say it's missing.
well, but it's but there things jump quickly. Like it goes very, very quickly because eventually Michael starts to more or less get Vinny into shape for what he wants him to do. Now, before that though, we got to go back to New York, and again, much like in Godfather 2, here's Zaza walking around like the cock of the walk. Now he's surrounded by guys,
Yeah.
but this is he's just he's given donations to the church to get cheers, and he's acting like the big guy on campus. And there's one guy, there's going to be a raffle for a car, and there's a guy sitting on it, He's like, "Hey, Joey Zaza, fuck off," or whatever, and it's like, "Oh, this is what this is why we get a bad name," or whatever. And of course, his lapdogs are starting to bark back at the guy. He keys the car, all to basically, it's a ploy because one of the I don't know, KKK people that's there.
Oh, I know a little bit about these.
Yeah, what's that? You're Catholic.
They're the Nazarenos. Susan said the same thing. It's like, that's weird. It's like they're an Italian order of I guess kind of priests. They're like monks. They originate as the flagellates. They're like the weirdos who
Smack
whip
themselves
themselves.
in the back.
Yeah, and
I thought you said flatulence.
and they're
the Godfathers.
the Godfathers. And they're sort of tolerated within the Catholic Church, or at least they were in ancient times.
It's like the Spanish Inquisition.
But they had to yes, and it was around the time of the Spanish Inquisition, right? And they had to essentially remain anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
So they're also like they're zealots big time. And the Catholic Church allowed them their existence as long as they remain anonymous. So that's why they wear the masks, the hoods. And they're the ones who, in all the big Italian religious parades, they're the ones always holding the statues and parading. Yeah. Incidentally, yes, the KKK did co-opt their hoods, their costumes for their own purposes. The KKK was very anti-Catholic, in addition to being.
Well, they're anti everything, but Baptist, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, but they co-opted it. Much like the Nazi swastika was co-opted. They co-opted the hood of the Nazarenos.
All right,
the Nazarenos. Of course, it's Renos. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so one of those guys is going to start blowing away some of Zaza's guys. Zaza goes running like a fucking crazy person. He's gone. A cop starts following him. That's pretty fucking cool. This is the coolest moment in the movie, easily. And Zaza is trying to get into this building, and turns out that cop on the back of that horse is Vinny.
Yeah,
and he just blows his ass away.
I almost didn't recognize him. I was like, looking at his helmet and his uniform, like I almost didn't focus on the
It was
face.
the only thing that I remembered from this movie.
It's got a little
I've
bit
never
of the
seen
Untouchables in it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
I should mention this now because I think I have seen this once because I watched all of them, but this one was like stricken from my brain.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
Completely. Because I did watch them. The first time I watched The Godfather was because Godfather 3 was coming out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because I would have been like
sense.
17, or no, not even 90.
90.
We were like 13, 14.
Yeah.
So it would have been the first time I would even think to see it.
Yeah.
The Godfather would be one that we would watch because it seemed like it always came on around Thanksgiving or Christmas on TV.
Such a family movie.
It kind of is.
It is, I know.
Yeah, I mean, people. I don't think that's
Everybody's
like an
got a
uncommon
Jimmy
tradition.
Caan in there.
Yeah, that you watch The Godfather as a family on Thanksgiving. It's kind of wild, but yeah.
And we should mention there is a specific reason why Vinny's going after Zaza.
Yeah, did we talk about
the
helicopter? Did we talk about that?
Well,
scene?
no,
We have the helicopter scene.
There's two other.
Because Zaza doesn't get got until after the helicopter scene.
But also after attempting to kill
on Vinny.
Yes.
with Bridget Fonda. So Vinny and Bridget Fonda hook up, and he whoa
Yeah.
Chuck's
Light, baby. Miller Lite. I lied. I'm a liar.
You're the beer father.
I'm the beer father.
We're just getting stupid.
Yeah. So basically, there's an attempt made on Vinny where he just fucking kills those guys, no problem. Which is funny because he uses the old trick of, we're going to slice her throat. Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. I already know her.
And then he uses the old trick of, just tell me. It'll be fine. I want you to tell, so-and-so.
Yeah,
whatever.
who sent you?
Who sent you? I'll let you go. And then he tells them.
He blows the one dude's brains out all over his mirror.
Yeah.
And
he also takes some flack from Michael for this.
Right.
Important character note here because he just tells Bridget Fonda he loves her.
Yeah.
But then he hears a noise and is like, hey, go give me a water.
Yeah.
Like she's completely oblivious and he's sending her to her death.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically that So that's one strike. Once he starts working with Michael, that Zaza is after him.
Yeah.
Strike 2.
But it makes sense. I mean, he did like bite Zaza's ear off.
Right, and Michael did
Zaza has
more
to
or less
retaliate.
Right, and Michael more or less
gave him sanctuary.
It's like, man, if you're going to do it, do it.
Yeah.
You know, so he basically already said, if you guys are going to kill each other, just
Right.
kill each other right now.
Right. Settle it.
Yeah, settle it. But anyway, they Michael has sold off all those casinos, right? So
Yeah.
he's going to hand out all the money.
Yep.
He gives money to everybody but Joey.
Yep.
And Joey takes this poorly,
Yep.
real bad.
Oh yeah, real bad.
He's like, my family did all the work, all the dirty work for you, and I get nothing. And because of course everybody's like thinking Michael is like some sort of a saint for all the $50 million. Wow. It's like, dude, that guy didn't get
Right.
it. That guy got peanuts.
Yeah, it's like
literally peanuts.
It's like when you sell the company, you know, you shouldn't talk about what everybody got, you know.
Right.
Well, and he's got his buddy Adabello, right, or Antebello, who is kind of spreading the good name of Michael Corleone, but little snake in the grass-ish at this point. But yeah, like Joey Zaza, well, he planned this before. Obviously, he knew he wasn't getting any money.
So he makes a big scene. He storms out to immediately get into a helicopter or have a helicopter come.
But Antebello follows with him, like, let me talk to him.
I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him.
It's very important. Because that's Eli Wallach, right?
Yes.
And they handcuff the door knob so they can't get out.
Yeah.
And a helicopter comes and starts blowing everybody away with machine guns.
It's pretty cool.
It is a cool scene.
It is a cool scene. And there is a guy who's like, my lucky jacket.
Yeah,
like,
I wrote
dude,
that down.
My
lucky jacket.
lucky jacket guy. I almost messaged you guys at that point. Is like, I'm going to quit taking notes after the my lucky jacket guy. Because there's nothing in this movie that will be better than that.
It is so dumb.
It is the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
well, it's hubris, right? Like it's the hubris of these of these people, of this
Is that
life.
really, it's
But-
just dumb.
It's dumb. I agree.
Well,
because if the gangsters are nothing if not pragmatic.
But
And
they're
that's-
also
and that's-
superstitious.
But are
I
they
don't
that
know.
superstitious?
I don't know about
Maybe
that.
Vegas guys are already dealing with gambling and shit.
Maybe.
These are all New Yorkers, though.
Maybe.
They're all in Vegas.
I
that
found
day.
it to be a little silly.
It is.
Well, you know what?
Don't defend this one. It's not worth
And
it.
you
It's
don't
the My
need
Lucky
any,
Jacket
and you don't
guy.
need it. You don't
we don't
need
even know
any-
who he is.
Right. What do you think the hell you're gonna die on?
I'm getting squeezed here, guys.
Yeah, you're getting squeezed.
I'll send my lawyer to talk to both of you.
Oh,
Just change B Movie Enema to My Lucky Jacket.
MyLuckyJacket.com.
I'm the my lucky jacket guy. So all of this now, Michael is this is
That went better than I thought it would.
so Michael at this point. This is the other thing that everybody remembers is the line that every time I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Yeah, that's also referenced The Sopranos. Really funny in a really funny way.
He's so like basically he's got to go back to war, but he has a diabetic stroke, and
It's really bad the way he acts this scene. It's almost
every time
comical.
he falls down, it's
He's
hilarious.
not a
comical.
good slumper, is he?
No.
Or collapser.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he goes
it's
down.
probably because he doesn't have that far to go to the ground.
Right. He's a little guy.
He's
a little guy.
un pochino.
Pacini.
He's un pochini. I was trying to do an un poquito joke, but un pochini sounds good too.
So they go so basically at this point Vinny and Connie are kind of running things, and so one thing that is cut out of the coda that was there was Connie giving her blessing to kill Joey Zaza.
Yeah,
Vinny
That's
mentions,
fucking important. Yeah, but he
Yeah.
only show don't tell.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's really important because Michael did not want that.
yeah.
He wanted to be
that is a bad omission.
He wanted it to be handled a different way because what it does is now he does come around eventually. It's like, wait, there's a bigger plot here. Who could give Zaza the go ahead for this? And that's what takes them back to Sicily. And the part I'm sure was where you were coming up was like now all these other characters are coming in, and
I'm just like,
it's a bit much. So we have
all right. Who's the Swiss banker? How are they related to the Archbishop? Is this all just more of the Archbishop trying to feast more money from the Catholic Church? So yes, they're like $700 million in debt, but who cares? Because I can do some funny math and get another $600 million from Michael Corleone. Is that what it is? And not have to sell the Vatican's share of the immobiliary.
Yeah, there's a whole
The Archbishop seems like he's trying to have it all, right? Yeah.
I think that is what's going on.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if he's just a dummy, I don't think he would be killed.
I think he's a little bit of a little finger. And that's a Game of Thrones reference. I think he's behind the scenes kind of pulling stuff, but I also think he's setting himself up for the victor. Yeah. Whoever the victor is, he would be on the side of that person. That's kind of what it feels like to me.
I also feel like that kind of character should have like a ambition to be Pope. Right? I feel like there's something missing there because the Pope dies and then the guy that they want to be Pope becomes Pope and then he gets killed. It's like, who was he going to be Pope next? Was he pulling those strings?
He wasn't even on the vote.
I know.
At least I didn't see him.
I think he is playing all sides.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He's gonna fall in with the victor, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not a good side to be on when the mob has come in with money.
because that's
or
the
at least
side,
when Michael Corleone comes
accept
in.
You
well, if Michael's the victor, Michael can't be the victor for this to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So he has to screw over Corleone, which Michael wants this because it's a first step to another plan that he and Mary are working on to go completely and totally legit. Because remember that, because that one scene where she looks at the thing and she looks at him and says, "What does this mean?"
I kind of this makes
and then
sense.
I'm like, I'm dead. I think I just died because this is terrible.
Again, sorry, poor acting, but it makes perfect sense and it's good for the story that she questions this aspect because this would be a foundation that would be a mask for cleaning money or
he
whatever.
Does say this is a completely and totally legit and totally legal operation.
I think he's being honest with Mary, but it's
I think he is.
hard to tell.
Well, there's a conversation earlier with George Hamilton when he's signing letters and everything. He's like, my father would never have understood this.
Right. He is legitimately going legit.
Yeah.
Legitimately
going legit.
Wow.
Too legit to quit.
Like Johnny Dangerous.
But also George
Hamilton.
But also George Hamilton is kind of like winky because it's like a great way to dodge taxes and
I'm sure there are
yeah, there's limits to legit. So legit businesses do the things that gangsters do,
right,
and they're just considered legit. So it's the appearance they want,
right,
not necessarily to be legit. At least the way
they want to
operate in a place that people will look at them and not question their motives.
The least amount of legal that suits them.
Yes. Where people will say those people, they're working with the church. Well, everyone knows the church isn't always legit either.
Right. Oh, sure.
Earlier.
Well, and it's when we're seeing it on screen, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, eventually, Michael isn't too happy that Zaza's dead, but
and this is where he confronts Connie, and it's like it's jarring because you're right. If you didn't know that she gave the order, you would be like, why is he getting mad at Connie?
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like and why is Vinny saying, well, no, she told me I could do this. It's like wait, whoa. Because a significant part of her kind of queenship is taken out of this story where like she is like, you understand why she gives Eli Wallach the poison cannoli. Like she is every bit protecting the family that Michael
She's
did.
The confather, the mom father.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The
is confather better because she's Connie?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a little confusing with James Caan, but I'll accept it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
He
you
would
got to
be the
look at the spelling.
Godfather.
The Godfather. Got to get an extra A in there. Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, like that, but he understands now that there was a bigger, because it's like, who could give Zaza the order to kill everyone?
Yeah.
And so they got to go over to Italy and sort all of this out. Now, this is where just a bunch of Italian guys show up, and they all have funny names.
Buca di Beppo.
There's Buca di Beppo. There's
Monte Carlo.
There's Chef Boyardee.
No, he's not in this one.
Oh yeah, you're right. He was in the last one. Yeah.
I'm trying to recall our Chef Boyardee joke, and now I can't remember it.
So,
It was
but
funny.
It was.
but anyway, so like you know, I
Is
mean,
that also Star Trek 6?
I don't think so, but
no, probably not.
that's good. All the best jokes can't be in one episode.
No, that's
Right. But anyway, so yeah, it's like basically Michael goes to see somebody who might know who is pulling the strings, and it lands on the guy who left with Zaza,
Antebello.
And he's but he's also got power behind him, which is another guy who seemingly is in politics.
So I don't. You look at me, and this is where I get lost.
Anyway, so but Michael tells Vinny, it's like, hey Vinny, do me a solid.
It's Altabello, not Antebello. Sorry.
Altabella. Okay. do me a solid, Vinny, and go over to the other side and betray me.
Yeah.
And so he says, so it's like, basically it's like, I want to know what who's behind Altabello.
And this is where we talked about in the first episode with Luca Brasi. You know, Vito sent Luca Brasi to do the same thing, but it was kind of a bad plan, maybe a little half-cocked. Vito didn't fully understand the situation, so now Michael has prepared this person, Vinny, and has sent him in, and I feel a lot more confident with Vinny in this position than I do Luca.
Well, and Vinny is
R.I.P. Luca, but
Vinny also has learned the ropes, right?
Right.
So,
well, I mean, Luca's an old grizzled gangster, but he's a tough.
Right, he's a tough guy.
Vinny is a little more than that.
Vinny's got the chops to become Don.
Right.
So yeah, and basically what we end up finding out is that so Michael is currently staying with that old Sicilian guy.
Yeah.
Kay is coming over with Mary because Mary and Kay are going to go see
Michael.
Anthony.
Or Anthony, yeah, sorry.
They're going to start a company called Mary Kay.
Yes. And then they they're gonna, yeah.
No.
No, we've gone too far. We've gone too far. I'm trying to keep this together, listeners.
Come on, plot father.
They need that that good olive oil
Yeah.
for their cosmetics.
No, Michael gets the name of this cardinal, right? From whoever the old dude he is.
It's like he's a good man.
Cardinal Lamberto.
Lamberto, yeah, he's a good man.
Yeah.
So
I think the guy he's seeing that gives him the name might be the guy that housed him in Godfather 1, but I'm not sure.
Could be.
ooh,
I'm pretty sure it is. It's the family that kept him safe during Godfather 1.
Could very well be.
I think it could be because there's a very specific pointedly.
I like the symmetry of that.
Yeah,
If
it's
not,
a pointed
that's
purpose to
disappointing.
go there to talk to that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Michael goes and talks to the past, and this is where he gives the cardinal his his confession.
Yeah.
That he killed Fredo, and the cardinal says it pretty plainly. You deserve to suffer for this, but I give absolution in this, and it's like
your soul is redeemable.
Your soul is redeemable, which I will do in the name of God or whatever.
And what's important here just to note is that the Pope is dying. He hasn't fully ratified the deal for
and
Immobiliari.
that's the other reason why they're over there is they want to find out what's going on, and they need to find out what's going on with this deal, because if the Pope dies, if they don't have friends, it's bad. And so they're trying to basically lean on the situation to say, come on, this has got to get done.
And the rest of the board, led by the guy you were mentioning earlier, I can't remember. I think he's in politics, but he's also on the board for Immobiliari, is like, no, well, all the ships have to go the same way. Like, and Michael's like, well, I'll do business with you, but fuck you guys, you're all snakes.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, he calls them all snakes. Yeah. And so the good news is that even though the Pope dies,
Cardinal Lamberto.
Yeah.
He gets voted pretty much by a landslide.
Yeah,
99 to 14 to 1 or something.
Something like that. Yeah. And so like, and he takes over, which means that's great. He likes Michael Corleone.
Yeah.
And he likes the deal.
Yeah.
And so he ratifies it, which is a death sentence to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did think it was a little weird that they tied into the whole John Paul I.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's a little weird.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really confusing who's dying too. Like when the original Pope dies, you don't know if it's the Archbishop, you
Right,
don't know if it's
right.
the Cardinal. Like you have no idea what the hell's going on.
Right.
Yeah, that was weird. And the tying it into the actual Vatican banking scandal, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, like the death of Pope John Paul I was a mob hit. That's a little bad taste.
Well, it wasn't really a mob hit. It was the hit. It was an internal. We don't want to deal with the mob.
It was
or
the
whatever.
Vatican mob.
It was Vatican, which is a mob.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So now.
But it's also like too little, too late.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's like, well, you deal with it. It's over.
I mean, you kill him before he ratifies the deal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I know.
So I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I don't get it.
Hey.
Anyway.
Hey, as one wise guy once said to me, about Fangul.
So basically, with the new Pope dead,
I know, stringing the strings.
Yeah. So basically, Michael pulls back Vinny because it's like, uh oh. There's and also the guy who housed Michael.
Well, Michael said we can't protect him. It's too late. There's nothing we can do.
Right. But the guy their house that he's staying at gets blown away by a real tough guy.
Well, yeah. So because they've hired an assassin.
Yeah.
The family that Zaza was working.
Yeah,
with.
he kind of looked like Ernest Borgnine.
He kind of looked like Lamberto too,
but it's Wallach's family.
Yes.
He kind of looked like the actual cardinal, so I was a little confused. So he was hired by that businessman, whoever
the whole donkey thing. It's like,
what the fuck is that? The guy who makes the donkey.
Yeah, I know.
Sound?
Yeah, I know.
You look confused.
No. Well, I'm generally confused, but no,
So this businessman hires an assassin to kill Michael.
Yes.
But when they're going to kill Michael, they accidentally run into the old Don Cappuccino or whatever.
Yeah.
Dunkachino.
Don Puccini. No, it's something like that. Dunkachino.
If you legitimately like this movie, I'm sorry we're butchering this.
Well, it's confusing.
I feel like there are things that make sense here.
There's a story here.
Right.
There really is. But it's just very convoluted, like Jeff said earlier.
I just lose the plot.
Right. There's generally speaking, okay, let's take this all back to square one. Starting over.
We're starting over?
Yeah, we're starting over. We're an hour and 10 minutes in, we're starting over.
Good.
The point of this movie is that Michael is desperately trying to go straight. Except that the deals that he is making to go straight are causing other issues in a rippling effect.
Right.
That is going to make it more or less impossible to achieve the goal he wants to achieve.
Right.
So that's really the movie. Now, the problem is, and I guess it's all summarized in the individual line of every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Sure.
Because the moment he tries to make a move towards his goal, somebody comes in and kills
Yeah,
everybody.
one step forward, two steps back. Yep.
Exactly. And while somebody like Zaza had to go, Michael is less mad about that than he is these other powerful people, because Zaza is kind of is not as big of a fish.
No.
He just controls a portion.
He's a tool.
He is.
Yeah.
And
He's a tool of his enemies.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so he's so like it's all about Michael ultimately serving penance for killing Fredo
Yes.
and driving away his wife
Yes.
in another way too.
Who I do like the scene before they find out that the guy they're staying with, which I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either.
It's Altabello who is Eli Wallach. He's the
Yes.
he's the on the Italian side of things, he's enemy number one for Michael.
Yes. He is the tool being used by the Immobilieri.
Right.
Yeah.
To push on Michael.
Yes.
And who ultimately is I guess has sent the assassins.
Yes.
Right.
He is at least bankrolling assassins.
Right.
Yes.
Right. The guy who gets murdered that they're staying at the house, I can't remember his name. It might be Franco Cedi.
I don't remember.
Not Franco Cedi, but no, I don't know. I don't know what Don that is, but it's a Don, right?
Right.
Tomasino, maybe?
Yes, that's it.
It's Don Tomasino.
Yes, that is Don. Do you know there's no less than 3 Anthonys in this movie?
Oh my
Character
gosh.
names, Anthony.
I mean, it's realistic at least.
I mean, I guess, but God damn
anyway,
it. Make one
Don
Anthony.
Tomasino gets killed on
Yes.
his way back.
Yes.
And at that moment,
Michael knows that it's war.
Well, before that though, Michael and Kay are having a nice conversation.
Exactly.
It's really nice. It's
well,
like,
they admit that they still love each other.
Right.
That through it all, the people they were in 1946, they still care about each
and
other.
Michael lets his guard down with her.
Yes.
And probably they have the most honest conversation that they've had in the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
To be quite honest. Like
We actually see them laughing
their
together.
love affair in the original Godfather never really rang true to me.
well, I
it's
felt
all
that.
Apollonia in the first one. it
Yes.
feels like.
Yeah. It felt like Michael was just using Kay because this is what's expected
Like
of
I
me.
said in the first one,
Yes.
this is the life I need to live. This is the kind of woman I should marry.
Right.
And she was kind of naive and a little stupid and easy to kind of string along to this.
And now they both seen a lot of shit, and they're both letting their guard down a little bit. And she even admits that she still loves him, but they can't be together.
no, it's over.
It's
Yes.
over.
I was a little nervous here because she said if it's any consolation, I thought she was going to say I did lose the baby. It wasn't an abortion.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, that would be.
Oh,
That's
not
what I
good.
thought was coming there. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, please don't be that. And then she said, I've always loved you. I'm like, okay, that
Thank God.
is sweet.
Yes.
because
It's a sweet scene.
It is.
It's sweet.
It's very nice.
It's heartbreaking too because she really always loved him, and at every turn,
And he shut the door on
he
her.
shut the door
Yeah.
on her.
Yeah.
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
I thought another door was about to get shut when the guys came and said, "Oh, Don Tomasino's
But then,
dead."
Don Tomasino.
But he's got to go back to reality,
Yeah.
and it's time to go to the.
It broke the spell.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's time to go to the mattresses.
Yep. Yep.
And so he pulls back Vincent and makes him Don.
Yeah.
It's like, call yourself Don Corleone,
like,
and
I
he
can't
just
do it
leaves
anymore.
Yep.
Yep.
He leaves. He's like, you know what's got to be
It's the
done.
same thing he did with Tom Hagen.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what needs to be done, and I'm out. I'm going to go to the opera. Have a good one. Stay away from my daughter.
Yeah. That's
So-
one condition.
One condition,
Yep.
you can have this, but the thing with my daughter, it's weird. Stop it.
Yeah.
It's weird. You're going to have 3-eyed children. No good.
Did I understand this right at the beginning, which it totally threw me out of the movie for like 10 minutes? She said that they had a sexual relationship when she was 8 years old.
They played doctor. I'm pretty sure. I think actually
Yeah.
that is further explored in the original cut.
Yeah. The line had a lot of 8-year-old girlfriends or whatever was weird.
Yeah.
because he said that line too.
Well, because he was 15.
Yeah.
Or something. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it's like, you Mediterraneans, what's going on down there?
Steph's family's going to be mad at you. They're Mediterranean.
Oh shit.
They're coming for you.
Oh God damn
They're
it.
coming for you.
Steph's dad just texted me. Hold on, it's the Don father.
Oh no.
I hope he listens to this episode.
No.
His name is Don. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm fucked. I'm dead. Well, listen to our last episode of Monster Mondays next week.
Yeah.
And it's not made any better by this lifeless performance from Sofia Coppola.
Boy.
It honestly takes it to another level of creepy.
Well, yeah, because it makes it feel like she's captive
Yeah.
and she's doing
bit.
it against her will.
A little bit.
I've seen
The scene, the love scene where he's like pulls his hand. Oh my God.
Steph was like, that's not how gnocchi is made.
That is how gnocchi is made. Gnocchi in boots.
Holy shit. Okay, let's stop the episode real quick because that's the best pun kind of joke Jason's ever made in his life.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's
Gnocchi boots.
yeah. I mean, it's a
The
bad,
boys are giggling again.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be back.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know how else to really like. You know what I would like?
Gnocchi boots.
Well, yeah, I would, but no, I would like for somebody to really kind of deconstruct this movie.
Yeah, like in what way?
In like a way that makes it make sense.
Okay,
And
That's our job.
No, well, but the thing is, we're failing horribly.
Yeah, we
guys.
really
I'm
are.
sorry.
I think we've put
This is-
some kind of.
I think we would.
This is 72 minutes
huge
of fail.
whiteboard. We
Yeah.
need a huge whiteboard. We would. I think we've done a good job of pointing out the parallels
Yeah,
in the thematic sense. But I think we failed a little bit on the family connections to some of these characters.
we definitely have lost where the threads are supposed to connect from the other movies.
And what
but it's
we what
difficult
and
to pick up.
I think what we've really lost though is the conspiracy, and I honestly think we've got most of what matters.
yeah.
well, I mean, there's obviously
I think when it gets
the
into the nitty
finale
gritty
that
of the
matters.
plot, I think
Right, it's
Who
yeah,
cares?
Well, the
Who
problem
cares?
here's the thing.
shit happens.
Coppola didn't.
No. I mean,
If Coppola didn't care, why should we care?
this movie has 3 goddamn cuts. And it's a movie
And
that
3
was
Anthonys.
and it's a movie that was never intended to be made. So yeah, take that.
Well, I mean,
Take that, everybody.
I don't-
who's listening.
well, I don't want to be.
Yes.
I don't want to be an asshole about this, but there's so many names
Yeah,
that are very difficult to pronounce.
it's true.
That are hard to understand.
Uh-huh.
And if you're not looking at the screen when somebody's speaking Italian, you're lost. You're fucked.
Yeah,
It's so much through 9 hours of movies. It is so hard unless you have that whiteboard. Like they had the board in the Senate hearing of who is everybody. I want that for this. I want that to come with the DVDs or with the digital
There's
copy.
a little bit of, to me, honestly, 2 is as convoluted, at least with the number of names and people that are involved and plot
it's a
points
simpler
and
story
threads.
though.
Yes.
Well, I don't know that it's simpler. I think it's made more. It just makes more sense in the way that it's told.
Yeah,
Well,
if
it takes its time to tell it too.
Right,
And it's a
this is-
It's
simple-
an hour longer than this movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The telling, it does take its time, but the telling is more finite. But I don't know how to say that.
well,
there's
all threads-
there's also only one real enemy.
All threads lead to Roth.
Right.
Yeah.
This
And
one,
once you
all
figure
threads lead
out
to
how they all
everybody.
lead to him. It's. I mean, Michael even says it. He's like he's played us like a puppet or something like that. He has a line where he's like, "Oh, Roth has played this beautifully."
yeah.
Right when the final penny drops, it's like, "Oh shit, Roth has done all of it."
But there could have been a singular enemy here, and it's in the telling that fails us. Of
Yes, because
understanding it.
even when
I think this is the Vatican part that just throws me off.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
because there's an added layer, and
Yeah.
then from that there are 6 other people that make up this board.
Yeah.
So we
and-
didn't fail. Coppola failed.
Well, yeah, but I
might
mean,
be failing in putting it back together, but it's not put together very well in the first place.
yeah, it's like we're all threads lead to Roth. In this movie, all threads lead to the top of a Cabbage Patch doll.
Or Michael.
It's just all like strands everywhere.
Well, let's land it.
Yeah. Let's land
so-
it with the opera.
Yeah, so all roads to what this movie is trying to do leads to the opera. And at the opera, we now have Michael, Kay, Mary, Connie, Vincent's goons.
Our
Yeah.
Anthony.
Anthony is performing. Anthony is
Corleone.
performing.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it is Anthony Jr. I think Michael's actual real first name
I think
is
you're
Anthony.
right. Anthony Michael.
Yeah.
Paul.
Yes. I knew that was coming.
God, sorry. I can't
Anyway.
help it. I'm so not into this movie.
Oh.
Mind races elsewhere.
So, and then, but basically,
And you also have the Don,
right, you have Altabello.
Altabello.
So he's there. Connie is like, oh, happy birthday. It's like, oh, you're the only person to remember. Yeah, because probably you're an asshole.
Yeah,
You're like, well,
it's your death day, too.
yeah, it's your, yeah, congratulations.
Happy death day.
Yeah, so she gives him a cannoli, and he's like, have a bite.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good moment.
I like
because
that, too.
It is a good moment, but
She didn't take a good
he
bite.
should have insisted on a better bite.
right, because she just goes,
Just barely like licks the ice cream. Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, but she did try to say, it's like, no, it's all
not
for
ice
you.
cream. But yeah.
Yeah. You could probably
whatever.
make it ice cream. Anyway,
Ice cream cannolis.
The ones that
Oh.
they sell at the Italian Fest are basically ice cream because they're like sell them frozen
ooh.
and they're good, but they're not real cannolis.
Okay. Well,
Not the ricotta.
I trust the Irish guy. at the
Yeah.
table. Anyway.
I know they're not real cannolis because Susan told me and she knows pastries.
Okay, fair enough. So, but anyway, she gives him and it's like she's watching him the whole time, and he's like singing along with the opera, and he's just having a grand old time. And then he slumps over and dies. He dies better than Al Pacino does.
It's simple.
It's simple, yeah, because he just
He does do a double slump, though.
he does, but I mean, whatever.
It takes a while though. He puts away a lot of cannolis.
He sure does.
He's got a high tolerance
That's why
for
she could have
cyanide.
taken a bigger bite, and I would have been okay with it.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe she just got a
Well,
little
maybe-
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she'd been like, I don't want to miss the opera. I would be shitting all over the
It's my
place.
son or my nephew up there.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss it.
So my nephew up there. Is that what you said?
I just said it's
Where
my
in
nephew
the
up there,
F
but
are all her kids in this movie?
Yeah. Who knows?
they get left out of the story completely. They're not even in 2, which I thought would have been impactful to have his
Right.
actual
They'd be
God.
Well,
little.
even Sonny's
little
kids aren't
in
really
two.
into.
No, in 2,
She
Yeah.
got married in Godfather 1, so she wouldn't have her kid that
Well,
she
it's-
had that she was pregnant with in 1 would have been like 7.
Right, because that's who he's standing Godfather for.
Right.
yes.
Yeah. So anyway, but
Should have been the Godfather to a kid.
But that kid could have been in 3. Like where is he?
It's Sofia Coppola, as Jeff said. She was the baptized,
Right,
person
because she
in the-
actually was.
Yes.
Yeah.
well, the thing is that,
so confusing.
My head exploded.
well, here's the thing about that though. Here's the thing about that. It should have been that kid, not Vinny.
I agree.
I agree.
So anyway,
There's a lot of miss.
right. There's a lot of missed opportunity. Anyway, okay, back to the opera. So there's a big. They know who all the pieces are, right? So
Yep.
except for one,
Yep.
they do not know. Vinny was never close enough to find out who was hired to kill Michael.
Right.
So Michael, like Vinny, is basically sending his guys out and around. You got to find this. Like we got to find. Like they're almost acting as security at this point.
Yeah.
And that is good about this
They've
movie.
also dispatched their assassins.
Is it
his
good?
assassins.
Is
Yeah.
it good? I don't know. I have a problem with the fact that Vinny is now the Godfather, but he's acting as security for Michael Corleone, who shouldn't be as important as him.
well,
anymore.
Well, the fact of the matter,
You know what I mean? Like,
his goons are acting as security. They're
so is
reporting
Vinny.
to him.
He's running all
Well,
over
but
the
the-
place.
it wouldn't be any different than Michael doing the same thing for Vito.
Right, exactly.
But if he was the Godfather, Vito wouldn't want him to do that.
Well, he
Well,
would
but that's-
anyway.
Maybe.
yeah, I mean,
let's go by that. Sorry.
no, I mean, because the thing is that
And let's face it, like he's only been Don for like how long? And that's
Half
not,
an hour.
and that's not really known to the rest of the
It's a
families.
30-minute Dom.
Yeah.
right? No, but he's
So
there.
he knows like there's a direct threat on Michael's
He's
life.
there listening to the opera,
and it's family. So he's
yeah,
gotta.
he's there with the family.
Yeah.
He has his goons running security. The problem is that this old man takes out 3 goons like it's fucking nothing.
Yeah.
He even gets the twins.
Yeah.
The twins, which are, I mean, I was like, wait a minute, I saw that. Oh wait, no, they're twins.
I did find it funny earlier in the movie. It was like with these two, he'll be totally safe, and then Michael immediately like ditches them
Yeah.
to take Kay on a country
Right.
drive.
Right.
It's like, well, I guess they don't matter.
yeah.
I totally escaped.
And then they're immediately dispatched by the assassin.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but the assassin is unable to get the proper shot on Michael. So he has to go back outside. And he uses his kid's donkey impersonation to distract them.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
It is super weird.
Like they could have done that in 20 different ways instead of just having a
he could
guy.
have just been like, "Hey."
It's also weird.
Mamma
He's
mia.
sitting there with a rifle.
Yeah, it's weird.
Take him out.
Yeah.
The moment you see the rifle as the Corleones are coming out.
Well,
Yeah.
see, I thought, and maybe I'm confused, that he was actually a plant in the play and he took the rifle from the stage because somebody walks off the stage with the rifle.
Yeah, he was in the.
He was. You're
Yeah,
right.
he was there, but still, but he's
It's really confusing.
But that doesn't
Right.
make any sense.
no, it makes zero
Yeah.
sense.
right. It's anyway. So the guy basically comes out, wings Michael, shoots again. Then he deadeye shoots him while being fucking tackled.
The guy was being, that was a
dead.
dangerous shot to
I mean,
make.
like Andy Garcia
hit
is
any of those
practically
people.
fucking James Bond in the scene.
Yeah. I thought like that. Wow, that's a very confident shot.
No shit, because he just squares up and bang, takes
Yeah.
it and shoots the guy right in the fucking head.
He's untouchable.
Yeah. And
Got him.
so then but then we realize that the second bullet hit Mary and she dies boringly.
Well, this is where hubris really gets Michael, right? Jeff's falling through his microphone. This is the ultimate penance. This is the
Right.
penance Michael has been dreading the whole film. Like, if I'm not willing to take penance, what is me even confessing, or is it confession? Confessing do? Well, this is the price he pays for his life. The one thing, and it's terribly dealt with in this movie because she says something earlier about, I want this foundation to bring us closer together.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's so bad in this movie makes that fall really flat.
Yeah.
So this death falls really flat.
I mean, I give
this
Pacino acting his balls off in this last moment.
Dude,
Yeah.
he screamed
His
so well.
wail.
He screamed so well they had to cut out 2/3 of it and make it silent.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Yeah. And and it's like, I mean, everybody else sells this scene.
Andy Garcia does not. I hate it. He looks at her and he goes, "No, Mary." It's really bad. I'm sorry.
I mean,
It's really
no,
bad.
I mean that fair. I mean, but it's
Yeah.
but the most important people, Diane Keaton and Al Pacino, sell this
They
moment.
do. They do.
So it's like, okay,
It's interesting that Pacino's reaction is that strong though, because it doesn't echo his father.
Well, and it's not earned in the relationship. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
well, that's the problem with the actress.
Yes, and
There's no real love between the two of them.
I feel
Yeah.
bad. You just don't believe any of the
Right.
relationship. The whole movie.
That's you don't.
I mean, you have to believe. I mean, the one thing I guess what you have to buy into is you believe in what Michael is trying to do, and that's it.
So
I mean,
like
this
you
should
said
be
earlier-
this should be the moment when Marlon Brando finds out that Sonny is dead, right? When Vito finds out that Sonny is dead,
Yeah.
there is like this. Everything is on Brando's face. It's this quiet pain, but then there's like this immediate. I don't know, like moving on. Like, does this show that Michael is more emotional than his father?
No,
that he's
so
more
here's-
affected by this pain?
Here's what I think. I think the fact that he made the foundation with his daughter, and that was his real aspiration to get out, not the church, not a mobiliary, not anything. It's the re-explosion of the car.
Right.
From Godfather 1.
Okay.
It's him losing any chance of
his end
life.
game is over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's his true death, which is...
So I believe it more in his, the death of Michael Corleone again. I believe it more in his loss of life beyond the mob than I do his loss of his daughter, which there should be. You should feel both.
You should feel both.
Yeah. Well, so it then fades to him from the beginning of the movie dancing with her, enjoying the good life, doing the things that, his plan being put into place. And then it cuts to him just putting on some shades and chilling out.
Yeah.
He's like, deal with it.
It's way too
and
short.
He puts on his... Yeah, and then...
It's the start of a never mind, go ahead.
Well, and then, it's like there's a quote there about Sicilians wishing people long life,
when
and they never forget.
Centani, they mean long life.
And Sicilians never forget. Which I guess in some way is meant to mean that he's supposed to live with this for a long time.
Yeah.
But he's just an old guy with some puppies around. And then
but isn't
in the original cut, you actually physically see him dying alone.
Yeah.
In that chair, which I still think is hilarious, how much he slumps.
But the cut is also I think there's more of him.
Oh, there's more of his life. Yeah.
He's not dancing just with his daughter, but with his wife.
You see the whole family.
Yeah,
the
whole family. And so it really drives home that these are all the people he's lost.
Yeah.
It's really kind of a sad ending to a man who started off protecting his family, has basically killed off or lost his entire family. If he dies at the end, he doesn't get what he deserves.
Right.
Right? Like, you have to believe he lived many years with all of his...
Well, he lived alone at that decrepit castle.
Yeah, and that's what the Coda cut is trying to say.
And
is that he's going to keep
okay
living and he's going to keep suffering.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's just told poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, it's taken pieces of what you filmed and trying to figure out how to tell that ending.
I also think him dying alone with his thoughts of his family that is no longer by his side is just as poignant.
Well, he still lived a long time. He still got that old man makeup on.
Right.
So he still lived a long time beyond that.
I haven't seen that in a long time, so I don't remember that anymore.
It's not that much different. He just dies. I mean...
Well, it's pretty funny how he falls out of that chair. That was the thing. It's like for years it was a joke about it. He overacted dying. He overacted saying they pull me back in. He just overacted in a not a very good movie with a bad actress in it.
Yeah.
This got him the job on Dick Tracy, I'm pretty sure.
No, I bet he did Dick Tracy first. That took a long time to do that.
The overacting.
This movie,
well, no, this is the beginning of Crazy Al Pacino.
But this movie, In Scent of a Woman...
not Alan... Never mind.
This movie, In Scent of a Woman, which he won the Oscar for, are definitely the two movies that he is most parodied for.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because, like, Son of a Woman was a hoo-wah!
Yeah.
Like, that was when that came out. Yeah. But it won him an Oscar.
It did.
He's good in that movie.
It's good. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And I still like Dick Tracy. Fuck y'all.
Fuck y'all.
Go listen to that episode.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, here's the thing. Is this necessarily a bad movie? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
But in comparison to the other two, it is definitely weakest.
Oh, yeah.
It pales in comparison.
Yeah.
Like it's... I mean, in a way, I guess if you're going to call it Coda, the death of Michael Corleone, take the Godfather out of the title, that would make more sense in the end.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would like for somebody to explain to us what we couldn't understand. If somebody could chart out who did what they were doing, what's their purpose, what was their goal, then I could maybe reevaluate the movie based on what I saw.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people can defend it because you have to do work.
Oh, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. And the series overall, I think, is pretty wonderful.
Sure.
And I think 3 actually does add to the story, but not in the way
it was
not
intended.
in as meaningful a way as 2 did.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. Anyway.
What's next? Where do we go from here? Film Seizure is back.
Yeah. Next month is Spooky Month.
Spooky month, my favorite month of the
Spookies.
year.
I just finished a notepad, and I noticed the first movie on this is Postman Rings Twice on this notepad, and I have a note that says punches her butt.
Okay.
That's
All
fine.
right.
Yeah,
I just
that's-
thought I'd share that.
Okay.
A little
Thanks.
behind the scenes for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes. Yeah, so next month we're going to have 3 remakes, The Thing, The Fly, and Nosferatu, that we're going to talk about. But you may notice that there are 4 weeks in October.
I didn't notice that.
Well, it's there. And we're going to do something. It's the start of something different that we wanted to do with Film Seizure, which is maybe not necessarily talk about a single movie, but talk about concepts or ideas or things that play into a lot of different movies. So we're going to have one of those episodes next month.
Yeah.
We're trying out some different things, some new things.
Yeah.
So if you want to find out when stuff is being released, there are 2 ways that you can do this. You can either, 1, subscribe to the various places that the podcast happens, whether it's SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, and Audible. Or you can also subscribe to
I got
YouTube.
this. Oh, go ahead.
What's the other way, Chuck?
Oh, you were talking about subscription. I was going to say follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
That's exactly right. He nailed it.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
It only took me 7 years.
Yeah, that's right. So it's fine. It's cool. So yeah, subscribe or follow us on those various places too. That's a good way of also finding out when things come out. FilmSeizure.com is the home base though. All of our episodes, of course, will always show up there. You can even subscribe to the blog there.
Blogger?
Well, on WordPress. So if you subscribe there, you can also find out when that stuff gets released. Also at filmseizure.com, we have Monster Mondays, and I am doing a bunch of silent horror films in October, and I'm kicking things off with The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Ooh.
Little weirdo one. So, it's the German expressionist,
It's one
right?
of Nick Cage's favorite movies.
Or impression. German impressionism or
German impressionism.
impression. I said expression.
No, you were right.
I was right the first
Yeah,
time. Okay.
German expressionism.
Yeah.
Don't obfuscate this, boys. Just
But
get on with
did
it.
you get one of Nick Cage's favorite movies?
It is. It is. We find out. Yes. In the meantime, you can also go over to my website, bmovieanima.com, where on Friday morning I will have a review of the Chuck Norris classic, Silent Rage.
Nice.
It's been a while since I've done a Chuck Norris movie.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah, I think we did this. We went
a little long on this
we
one.
went a little long on this one because this one is hard to talk about, and we took different paths like this movie did
a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, until next time when we get into spooky stuff, spooky. I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I'm Chuck Moore.
I am Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.